What's up, good people? Neal Yakopin here with another brief tutorial, only this time it's going to be on how to do a drum cover. So if you guys have seen any of my videos and you're curious as to how I do it, I'm going to be showing you guys everything I do, from setting up the drums, setting up the mics, setting up the lights, camera, and then also recording the audio, mixing and mastering it, and then exporting it. Okay? So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and let's get right to it. Okay guys, this is where we're going to start. This is going to be your grocery list. So this is what you'll need to make a drum cover. Obviously the first thing you're going to need some drums. Okay, it's going to be very difficult to do a drum cover if you don't have drums, I promise you that. The next thing you will need are mics. Okay, we'll talk about mics, the different kinds that you can use, and then also mic placement a little bit later. But for now, just know you need mics. Okay, XLR cables. You don't need to buy 25 of these, just buy as many cables as you have mics, okay? Or as many cables as your audio interface can handle. Which obviously brings me to this. You will need some type of audio interface. I personally use a PreSonus Fire Studio because it has 8 inputs. The preamps are pretty solid, so it sounds good. And then I can record 8 drums at one time, okay? And then a laptop with a DAW. I use Studio One, but if you have a Mac, it comes installed with GarageBand already, which will work perfectly for what you're trying to do. Or maybe you're one of those people that uses Pro Tools or Logic. Whatever you use, just know you're going to need your DAW for this particular project, and also a laptop that can talk to your audio interface. So they got to be compatible. Okay. The next thing you're going to need is a camera. If you don't have an expensive camera, if you don't want to buy an expensive camera, you can use your phone. The iPhones today have great cameras, so that will work perfectly. And then lights. This is optional, but I promise you your video will look a lot better if you have good lighting. Okay, if it's real dim and it's dark, it's gonna look grainy and just bad. Okay, so let's try to stay away from bad. Get lights if you can. If not, you know, everyone's got to start somewhere, but eventually you may want to incorporate those. Okay? All right, let's move on. All right, here's step one. So step one is you open up your DAW. I'm using Studio One 4. Really like this program, but GarageBand will work, Logic will work, Pro Tools, whatever you're using, it'll be fine. Okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to have a blank template or a new project, and you're going to want to go up and you're going to add your mono tracks or your audio tracks. Okay, you only need to add as many mono or audio tracks as you have mics. So for me, I have 8 different drums mic'd. Okay, so I'm going to go through here and I'm going to add 8 different mono tracks. I'm sure there's a shortcut, but that'll work for right now. Okay, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to rename these, just so that everything's nice, it's clean, it's organized, and I know what I'm looking at. So I'm using 3 toms, a snare, kick. For this song I am using an SBDSX for some of the samples in the beginning, and then left overhead and right overhead. This is typically how I set my drums up every single time. I always like this. In this particular order, you guys can do what you want, but this is a good template for most people. Okay. And then the next step you're going to want to do is make sure that your input is set correctly. Okay, so the kick, if I want this to be the first one I'm monitoring, I got to set it to input 1, then set your snare to input 2, your tom to input 3, tom 2 to input 4, down the list. Okay, so just keep moving. Alright. And then once you have that set up, the next step is you're going to want to make sure that your tracks, you're hitting record. Now I don't want to do this right now because I have a mic set up to record this. It'll create some weird feedback. But make sure that whenever you are about to do your drum cover, you click record on each of these. Now that won't start the song. You'll have to click down here. So we'll get to that in a second. But the next step that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to import whatever song that you want to cover. The song that I'm going to be covering today, just as a demonstration, is a song called You'll Know by the Hop Sisters. It is a band I'm playing with this summer, and they're based out of Nashville. Very talented. Okay, so all you have to do is once you find the song you want, find it in your files, and then you just drag and drop. Okay, so you just drag and drop that. It's going to build a preview. It's going to load everything in. Da, 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 da. Okay, so now you have your song, which is exactly what you want. This is what you're going to be syncing up with your drums, and so you just want to listen to it. Now, before you go any further too, you want to make sure that the levels sound right, that nothing's funky, so just go ahead and listen to the beginning. Okay, you guys can't hear this, I can, but everything sounds fine on my end. The other thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up a click. Okay, I know a lot of people sometimes get a little scared of running a click, but if you're doing a drum cover, if you're recording, you need to learn how to play to a click. It's very, very important. It'll keep you on track, and it'll also make sure that you start the song correctly. Okay, so for this song it has a fade in, so to make sure that you're right on the money, you definitely want to click. Okay, now I know this song is at 72 BPM, so I'll set that already. But if you don't know the song BPM, you can always look it up. There's a lot of different websites that'll tell you, popular song BPM, so you can just Google that. Okay, go to transport, and then you go to metronome setup. Okay, with your metronome setup, I prefer this as my setup, the clave and the rim shot. The clave is the accent, just so you know where the 1 is. That clave will hit on the 1 of each measure, just so you know, okay, this is where the 2 is, this is where the 3 is, and you don't get lost. Okay, click render. I do loop range. Boom, 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 and you got yourself a click. Okay, now to make sure everything's synced up, I would zoom in a little bit and just make sure that all the downbeats are lined up with the actual drum tracks. I'm going to get to the edited version in a second of the drums that I actually recorded along with the click. But now that you guys know how to set it up, this is the important part. Okay? So let's look at this, and I'm going to show you how I set my mics up and how I routed them. Okay? Obviously the kick drum mic right here in the kick drum, I have it inside the port. So if you can see my mouse, I put the kick drum mic, it's probably about center and facing directly towards the beater. Okay. If I had I do have a stand where I can put it near the outside, but for this song I just put it pretty close, just because it was what I was looking for. Okay. I use a Shure SM57 right here on the snare. Okay, it's just the best. It's a great price, and it's going to capture a great snare sound almost every single time. And I have that routed all the way over here to my Fire Studio. Okay, and then for my toms, I use Audix. So I use the Fusion series. Okay, they're a pretty fair price, and they sound great as well. And obviously, I have those angled directly towards the center where I usually hit, or try to hit at least. And that's with every single tom. Okay, try to get it to where you hit. If you hit a little north of center, that's fine too. But make sure your mic is facing where you usually hit. All right. My hi-hat mic over here, I had to use this particular input for the SPDSX, but usually this is where I have it. I have it about 6 inches above the hi-hat. People will vary this technique. Some people put it on the bottom. Whatever you like in terms of sound, it should all work. Okay. And then I have 2 overheads. One overhead's right over here in the right-hand corner, and then one over here in the left-hand corner. They're higher than the camera, so you can't see them, but they are there to capture the overall, the airiness of the drums and to get a little bit more of a full sound. Okay? So that's where I have everything placed, and then I have everything routed to my Fire Studio, which is over here in the bottom right-hand corner, which is connected to my MacBook. And you can see right there I have Studio One open, and this is exactly what it looks like. So when you're looking at it, it looks just like this. Okay, and then I have all this ready to go, so I have this ready to record, and when I'm ready, boom, I hit record, the song will start, the click will count me in, and the drums will record. Another important thing to add is my camera is obviously directly above me, so I have it angled straight down. It's a GoPro. I have it set on linear, so it's not the fisheye lens, but it's it's going to capture everything that I want. I prefer this top-down angle just because you can see everything that I'm doing, and it's a pretty cool angle. And You know, I drum in a storage unit, so it's not the most aesthetically pleasing place, and this seems to capture a pretty good vibe. Okay. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hit record on your camera first, and then go over to your DAW and hit record. Ooh, that's not the right one. And then hit record here. Okay, that will make sure that everything's synced up, and that will move us towards the next step, which is exporting this, exporting the video, and putting them into an editor which you sync up to make the drum cover. Okay, so let's get on to that. Alright, so if you made it this far, you are basically done. Okay, so once you have completed your drum cover, you have recorded all your drums in conjunction with the track and the click. Now you're ready to mix and master and export this. I'm not going to get too much into the mixing and mastering. I may make a separate video on that just to show how I mix and master drums, but I'm no professional audio engineer. I know a few things, but we'll keep it simple for now. Alright? So what you're going to want to do is obviously mute the click, because you don't want anybody else to hear that. That's just for your personal use so you can stay on time. But then you're going to go up here, you're going to click Song, Export Mixdown, and this is where it's going to give you your options. Okay, just right here between loop is fine. It's going to show you the duration of the song, the resolution, which is important, and the sample rate. You can change that if you wish, make it a little higher quality if you wanted to, but I'm just going to use these settings for right now. Then make sure you go up here and figure out where you're going to save this at, because if not, you may have a hard time finding the file. Okay, just for simplicity, you may want to save it to your desktop or documents at first. Wherever you know you'll find it, and then you'll click OK. It'll render out the song. Boom, bada bang, you're good to go. Alright? So you have your audio exported, and you have your video from your phone or whatever camera you used, and you imported it onto your computer. You're then going to want to sync them up. So this is the easiest part, really. I'm just going to show you with the video I'm actually making right now, just so you can figure out how to do this. But you find out where that file is for your video, wherever you kept it, whether it's your desktop. Right here, I have all my stuff on my desktop. You'll just click it, drag it in. It'll plop down on this timeline just like so. And then your audio, wherever you save that, you just drag and drop it into the bottom section. And then you're going to sync the two up. So, I didn't use the audio from my camera, it's just not all that great. So I synced up the audio that I used to record with my lips. So you just kind of have to look and get an idea, and make sure it's all timed right. If you need to zoom in, do so just to make sure that it's not off, especially with a drum cover, because it'll look funky. But you can see me moving my hands around like an Italian person right there. Boom, bada bing. Okay, you're good to go. Once you have that all synced up, then you go to the exporting side of it, which is just File, Share, File again, and then it's going to bring up your settings, things like resolution, whatever you want to call the title of it, and then you'll click Next and go from there. As you can see, it's going to be a massive video, but for right now, guys, that is everything. Hopefully that gives you enough information that you need to get started on your first drum cover. If you guys have any personal questions, you can always either email me or send me a message on here. I'd be happy to answer it. But for now, guys, please like and subscribe if you guys enjoy this content. Let me know if there's something else you guys want to know, and I'd be happy to make a video. But this is bye for now. Peace.